Hi there, Lynn County team, Neva Anderson. So I'm away this week at an emergency preparedness conference called Prepare Oregon. And so I wanted to take a moment and just talk about communication for our monthly Employee Empower program. So this month we're going to talk about, like I said, communication, and it's based around three fundamental things. One, collect information. Two, share that information with your family and neighbors. And three, practice it. So that's kind of FEMA's guidelines regarding that. I have provided a couple different resources for you all. One of them is kind of create a plan through FEMA. It's just basically a worksheet that prompts you to gather information regarding your families, your neighbors, and so that way you have the information pre-disaster in case if something happens. Secondly, I want to provide you what they call a ready book. I recommend hanging these on your refrigerator, near your door, somewhere that your family recognizes for information. That way the information that you do collect and put in here is updated regularly. So let's talk a little bit about collecting information first. It's important to take note of your physical stuff regarding your home. So who your utilities are through, and write down those numbers, the contact information. It's also important to take note of like children, what school they go to, what emergency contacts do you have for the school in case of something happens. Where should your kids go in case of an emergency? If you are unable to be reached as a parent, is there somebody else here in town or out of town as well that is able to care for your kids? Also, it's important to have an out of town contact person, because if something does arise where say the Willamette Valley experiences a large earthquake of some type, it's important to be able to relay that information to out of town people to let them know and use that person as a contact base for the rest of your family. It's very likely that information and cell phones and landline phones are going to be super clogged up trying to get into our location. So if you have a way to communicate that you're safe and you're okay to an out-of-town contact, that way that person can be the contact person for the rest of your family. Also, I want to make sure it's important that you take note of your veterinarian, any special needs that your family needs. If you have somebody that's developmentally disabled, or if they have special mental health needs, it's important to take into concern that information. That way it also helps first responders if your family needs assistance. So looking at the FEMA packet, kind of work your way through it, use it as a rough draft for collecting that information. I also want to remind you, if there is a large event where people need to communicate, texting and social media is best, because like I said, landline phones and cell phones are going to be bogged down and you're not going to be able to get through to people. However, the cell towers are able to process text messages a lot faster and a lot quicker than actual communication via talking for a phone. And so just kind of keep that in mind. When you're planning your out-of-town contacts, kind of make sure that they're able to communicate via text or social media or what have you. It's just something to keep in mind. With your Ready book, there are options to take pictures of your pet and include them here. This is important in case if your pet gets out. It's easy to be able to just hand somebody a photo that you already have printed out in case if they need to locate an animal or even a child, for instance. It's important to, like I said, write down those emergency phone numbers. Keep copies of your prescriptions. That's something that a lot of people don't think about. So have actual paper copies of your prescriptions and keep that updated as time progresses. And then if you notice on tab 5 of your Ready book, it talks about have an emergency supply kit. So now is the perfect time for me to ask, how many of you actually took your emergency supply kit paper out of the office back in January? Or is it still sitting in a stack of papers on your desk? So if you need another one of these, please don't hesitate to take one and get started on your kit. It's not something that has to be done overnight. It can be a slow process, and and you put it together over the course of a year, for instance. If you want more information on how to do that over the course of the year, I'm more than happy to provide that for you. And last but not least, since it is Communication Month, I want to remind you, if you have not signed up for Lynn Benton Alerts, you actually have to physically sign up for this. It's not something where the sheriff's office can just ping your phone. It's an alert that you have to physically sign up for, and then you are opted into a bank of numbers in which we can alert you through. So that's all I have for you guys this month. I hope you're doing well, and we will catch up next month with some new emergency preparedness packs that we have coming in for employees, and it's going to be housed here in Public Health. And so I'm excited to share those with you guys. Take care, and I hope all is well.